Hi, this is Shell of Shell's Creations. Today I wanted to show you how you can become Mother Nature and change some of the green CU leaves to look like fall leaves. The one I'm going to start with is number 8. That's this ivy leaf right here. Now you might think that making this look like a fall leaf would be rather simple. All we'd need to do is change the color to some orange or gold. Let's try a new fill layer, solid color. Let's pick a bright orange color and change the blending mode to color. You'll notice when we do this that the veins of the leaves are what's turning orange, and this background part here is much darker. That's because if you and go back for a minute and look at our leaf here, the veins are white. Whereas when a leaf changes color, that's the part that's the darkest. These in-between parts are what turns out lighter. And so because of that, turning some of these leaves into fall-looking leaves is a little more complicated. But here's a quick process for how to do it. It's true we do need a color fill layer. However, we don't want it set to color. We just want it set to normal. And we want it to be something that's in a bright yellow gold range. Let's go a little bit more yellow gold, something like that. Again, it doesn't matter. This is where you get to play around and be creative. We now want to duplicate our leaf layer. I'm going to leave this one on the bottom so that I can clip everything to it when I'm finished. Let's drag that up above the color fill layer, and then we need to invert it. Under Image, Adjustment, Invert, or Controller Command I. What you get now is this kind of funky looking light purple leaf in most cases because it's the opposite of green. But the thing that you can notice here is now the center here, all of the fleshy part of the leaf is light and the veins are dark, and that's really what we were looking for. Let's change the blending mode on this one to multiply. Aha, that's a little bit more like something we're going for, except that it's too gray. So let's see what we can do to adjust that. I'm going to change this from multiply back to normal so that you can see the adjustments I'm making on it. I want to change the hue saturation on this because it's purple. Even though we're multiplying, I think it's kind of graying our leaf. And so I'm going to choose Command or Control U and bring up my hue saturation box. I really just want to change it so that it fits in the same family, the yellow gold family. So I'm going to move the slider until it appears to be more yellowish. And let's bump up the saturation till we get something that's in the yellowish, orangish range so that it will complement the colors that we're trying to make our leaf. I settled on a hue of 116 and a saturation of 59. Now let's go back and add that to change it back to multiply. There we go. That gives it quite a bit more color. There's still some gray in some areas, but that'll give it the color that we're looking for. Now, in the fall, the leaves, often the edges of them have more of a reddish or orangish tone to them. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a bright orange, not red, bright orange that I'm going to paint around the outside edges. I'll need a soft round brush, and I want it to be quite large, not quite that large, about like this. Now I could select my image and run a stroke around. That would give me a nice even edge around it, but in reality it's never quite that even, and so I am going to go ahead and hand draw this one. I want a little bit more over here and a little bit less as it comes here, but by that time we get to the end I want the tip to have a little bit more again, then maybe a little bit less, and this side over here we'll go with a little bit more again, and then hardly any up here. Alright, let's change the blending mode on that one to color burn, which will go way too out of control. So let's lower the opacity on that way down. We just want, we want it to appear that it's got kind of that roasted orange edge to it. Now if you wanted to add a little bit more creativity, you could do another layer similar to this, but instead of orange this time, we're going to go with a red, kind of an even brighter red. And this one I just want to kind of kiss the very tips of the leaf. Just on the tips, maybe a little bit more here. Again, I'm going to change that to color burn and lower the opacity on it. I'll give it just a little bit more personality there. The only other thing I would change on this is, to me, that stem, bright orange like that, doesn't seem like reality. So I'm going to take a brown. I don't want to have a bright line in between. You could go in and go really fine in there, but I just kind of want to gradually, let's go with a larger brush. Something large, about like that. There we go. This time if you change it to color burn, you'll notice brown with a color burn does the same thing. It makes it, color burn makes it just a bright red, and that was what we were trying to avoid. And so linear burn is a little bit better, but I'm just going to go with multiply on that. And again, I'm going to kind of lower the opacity on it. I just want it to not be glaring bright orange. Okay, let's link all those together. And there you go. There is your leaf. Let me move this up to the top so we can see the difference. This process works on any of the leaves that have lighter colored veins. Number 9 also has light colored veins, and it's the same process. I added in a solid yellow base because yellow was the background of what I was looking for. I went ahead and inverted the leaf next, and it gave me this funky purple color. This one I used a Hue Saturation layer instead of just the Hue Saturation so that I could adjust it, but it's the same thing. I turned it to a yellow color so that it matched our leaf, and I didn't feel like that was dark enough where I wanted it to be on the veins, and so I went ahead and duplicated that. On the second one, I lowered the opacity. It's only up to 56%, so I kind of have 1.5 of the leaf on there, and then same concept, add a little bit of dark orange around the edges. And you can play with it and decide, I'd rather the brown on the edges, I'd rather the orange on the edges. This is where you get to be creative and have fun. In order to link this one together, I first have to simplify these Hue Saturation layers so that they don't apply to the whole thing. You can see where it was kind of a yellow peach color that I changed it to. And now I'll clip all the layers together. This random one in the middle that I don't know what I did with. There we go, and there's that leaf ready for fall. I hope you've enjoyed this tip on how you can change these pretty green leaves to match your fall kits. If you're interested in more design tips like this, I'd love to have you join us in our Creative Club Digi Designer Edition. I'll link up the details below. If you have any questions, you can reach me at shells.creations1@gmail.com. See you next time.